exciting project. I'm a native Pittsburgher. I am a lover of all things bike, have been for quite some time. And I think I'm here because 2 years ago I gave birth to an idea which has turned into a bit of a movement, if you will. The organization is called Black Girls Do Bike. And the name pretty much speaks for itself, or at least that's the intention. So if you've not heard of Black Girls Do Bike, I'll tell you a little bit also about the organization. So we were created simply with the goal of growing or also supporting a community of women of color who were already cycling, but also to get women who weren't cycling onto bikes. And the goal is to have a comfortable space where lady cyclists can organize rides, they can get some inspiration, provide support to one another, and ultimately we are seeking avid riders, but also beginners, because the diversity of the riders makes us a stronger group. And as I said, we want to get those folks who aren't on bikes to consider biking, so that's our goal as well. I like to say we want women who cycle for function, fitness, freedom, and fun. So that should cover just about everybody. To date, Black Girls Do Bike has 40 chapters across the United States. And we always get requests to add more locations to other cities and college campuses. And each chapter is led by a shero. She's got to be somewhat like me, pretty enthusiastic, in love with cycling. You have to be socially network savvy and have a pretty strong desire to get more women on bikes. That's always the goal. And also we ask that you pay it forward. So if you show up for a ride, we hope that the next time you bring someone else along with you, and we'll continue to grow that way. So you may think, why do we need a group like Black Girls Do Bike? There's a couple of reasons. First off, women in general, but specifically African American women, are underrepresented in the cycling community in terms of ridership, advocacy, racing, mechanics, industry leaders, you name it. So that's a huge deal. It's something that we like to help overcome. In addition, you have the health aspect of this, which is, if you know the statistics, it's pretty powerful that 4 out of 5 African American women are overweight or obese, which means that if you are African American, your family is probably riddled with heart disease, stroke, diabetes, those types of things, and we're dying at alarming rates because of it, much more than our peers. And if you have these type of issues, then it's likely that you have perhaps a body image issue. You may hesitate to try new things, like walk into a bike shop and join that charity ride all by yourself for the first time. You may feel unsafe riding in certain weather conditions or certain times of day as a woman. You may be uncomfortable mechanically changing a flat tire or doing basic bike maintenance. And then there's also the I tried it but my bum hurt, which means I gave it a shot and it didn't go so well and I'm not going to try it again. So we hope to give ladies solutions to these problems so they can overcome these obstacles. Now, you may want to know, how have we built such a strong community in such a short period of time? So I attribute it to a couple of things. The power of social media. We utilize Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and even Tumblr. So you can find us through any of those outlets. In addition, we've had a lot of support from outside organizations such as Bike Pittsburgh, such as the League of American Bicyclists. Even locally, Kindred Cycles volunteered their space so that we could have our first photo shoot. And we've had a series of interviews done through bicycling.com and Ellie Blue, if you heard her, she's pretty powerful, feminist in the bike movement. Women on Wheels, also an excellent blog. They've all done interviews with me about Black Girls Do Bike, so the word is getting out. And then we've had donations from vendors locally, Fix Reflective, Aerotech Designs, and also even like nutcase helmets, kryptonite locks, those types of groups believe in what we're doing and they're willing to show support. And probably the biggest one is word of mouth. So each chapter has these ladies. We tell them, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And we do really run on inspiration. So the images that we try to share are powerful images, but kind of make you want to get up and take action. And then also we have created some cycling wear that we hope is at the very least a conversation starter. So that if you see someone wearing a shirt that says these hips were made for cycling, it might make you smile. Or a shirt that says Black Girls Do Bike, you might at least be intrigued and ask the question, what is that? Where are you from? Who do you represent? So we have grown a tremendous amount in the last year, and hopefully we are continuing to fill a void that existed in the cycling community. So if you're a part of our community, which at this time I want to urge all of you to become a part of the community, we're not exclusive, we are completely inclusive. So anyone can ride, join, support Black Girls Do Bike. If you are a part of our community, then you have a 24-hour resource to answers to your questions, inspiration. If you are a mom with kids who rides, or a cyclocross racer, or strictly a beginner, we hope that you can find someone else that shares your skill set and you can find common ground there. If you are into impromptu rides, you want to schedule a ride after work, you can quickly get into one of our Facebook pages, say, hey, I'm going here this time, someone want to join me, and that can always turn into a ride. And when you visit other cities, you now have a network of groups of cyclists that you can at least ask questions, but also ride with, maybe get a guided tour around town. And finally, there is power in numbers. So as we grow as a community, then we start to have influence on the larger community and decisions that are made in towns and cities across the U.S. So I'm just going to share a short story with you. This is Tasha, you see in the picture here. She's in our Los Angeles chapter. Tasha had not ridden the bike in years. She had an old one, but it was in the garage and it was in pretty bad shape. So she reached out to our Los Angeles group, and she was greeted by our Shira there. Her name's Lula. She's amazing. And Lula said, I'm going to take you to a bike shop. We're going to find you a bike. As the story goes, it took 5 hours that day to pick the right bike, size it, all that fun stuff, and also get all the fun accessories that come with buying a new bike. And within days, Tasha was out on the road with Black Girls Do Bike Los Angeles, riding her bike. And these stories happen every day in the Black Girls Do Bike organization, and that to me is probably the best part. Next, we also have, as I mentioned earlier, if you're traveling, you can find ladies in the organization, likely where you're headed. So on the left, your left, we have Tania. She rode on our Milwaukee chapter, and she went to San Francisco, and she was greeted by some ladies from the San Francisco chapter. And on the right, we have a young lady from Atlanta. She's in the middle without her gear on, and she was at a Cyclabia event and saw Black Girls Do Bike tagged on a bus, and she said, I gotta find those ladies. And she searched and searched and searched, and they found one another and put this awesome picture together. So I want to give you just a few highlights from the last year or so of our organization, just to kind of tell you the fun things that are happening. So we have, since I was here last year speaking to some of you, we've added an additional 30 chapters to the organization. Those are ladies in Oklahoma. As I mentioned, Kindred Cycles volunteered their beautiful shop so that we could have our first photo shoot, so we were able to take some nice photos. Some ladies volunteered their time with our Black Girls Do Bike jerseys. And ladies have been encouraged to try new forms of cycling. I'll let you know how that worked out. But you can see it. We do everything in good fun, and that underlines all of our rides and our events. Just have a good time and enjoy yourself. Also, our Milwaukee chapter. Oh, sorry. We introduced cycling caps to go along with our jerseys. That's me. Our Milwaukee chapter has not officially launched yet, but they decided to do a meetup at a bike shop, and they had an amazing turnout. So I hope that's a sign of what's to come with their chapter. The Los Angeles group won most Team Spirit Award in Beach Babe Classic, excuse me. So they were pretty happy about that. They actually got their picture on the website. Our South Florida chapter did a competition with San Francisco Bay Area. They called it Race Across the States. And they figured out the mileage, and whichever team made it to the other team city first won, I guess, bragging rights. So the winner in this case was Black Girls Dubai Bay Area. We recently started a Strava club. So if you utilize Strava, please join us. Just a nice way to compete and see how you stack up against other riders. So we are on Strava. The Selma 50th anniversary ride, that happened a little over a month ago. And what was nice about this event was our ladies from different chapters were able to come together and meet one another. So Austin, Houston, and Atlanta were represented. None of these ladies had met prior to this day, and they all became fast friends. And it was quite a hike from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. I was surprised to see, I'm obsessed with the Jamaica Reggae ride. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I believe it's 3 days of riding through the country. One day I will do it, it's on my bucket list. But I was surprised to log in one day and spot a few Black Girls Dubai jerseys at the ride in November. And I'm told in April I should see a lot more. We don't have any international chapters yet. However, we did send our first jersey to Germany out of the country just about a month ago. So there's potential there, potential for growth. And I had the privilege of attending the Women in Biking Forum in DC. Ren was there. A lot of the ladies from Pittsburgh were able to make it. It was an amazing event. We'll probably attend for the next few years. But it was a lot of work. We were pretty busy. We didn't have a lot of time to connect with each other. But we did manage to get one picture out. And that shows you how hard we were working. And just this week, we reached 5,000 followers on Black Girls Dubai.